Hello there guys, and welcome back to a brand new Star Wars Hunters video. Today I have an update review for you following the update to the soft launch the other day. As the game is still in soft launch, it is worth adding that things will no doubt change for the full launch of the game in what I hope is just a couple of months away. Obviously not everything will change, but it's more with regards to the iteration of certain systems in the game like progression. So in Wednesday's update we got a ton of new content, so I'll be looking to give my thoughts on all of it, which includes a new game mode, 4 new maps, 2 new hunters, new cosmetics, progression system changes and additions, and lastly a stats page. Starting off with the new game mode, that is of course Huttball. Since I've never played Huttball on SWTOR, I didn't really know an awful lot about what to expect with it, but so far it's a huge amount of fun. The first 3 to 4 games I played of it were definitely enjoyable, but we absolutely steamrolled them to a quick 5-0 victory, so I was disappointed by the enemy team for making our lives so easy. That said, as soon as the rest of the content went live in the update, it's like a switch flipped, because ever since then I've been having really close matches that continue to go back and forth, with a lot of my games entering overtime at 1-1, so it's been really nice to have that challenge. Huttball for me has pretty much everything I was hoping for with the mode. Team play and quick thinking are essential for victory in what can often be a really challenging and low scoring match. Ultimately, I'd say Huttball is probably my favourite game mode thus far. The team at Boss Alien have done an amazing job with this game mode, and I'm really excited to see what other modes they will come up with next. Whilst we're on the topic of Huttball, we may as well talk about the new maps. 3 of the 4 new maps are Huttball maps, with the last one being a new map for Escort. For Huttball we have Dusty Ridge, Gauntlet and Highline. Dusty Ridge is probably my favourite of the 3 maps. Whilst the gameplay is great in all of them, I just really like the overall aesthetic of Dusty Ridge. It feels nice to have a Tatooine map in the game that doesn't focus on the overall architecture of an urban location from the planet. Now I'm not saying urban Tatooine stuff is bad, because I love the other maps too, but it's just really nice to have a change with the sand dunes. Highline and Gauntlet are the first maps in the multiplayer that aren't actually inspired by specific planets and are instead very similar in design to that of the training mode area, which I really like. My favourite thing about each map is that they all have a unique feature to them. For example, Dusty Ridge has a pad that when you stand on it, you activate these 2 ramps which you can then launch across the centre of the map. Highline has a long zipline that goes across the middle of the map with 2 traps at each end. And lastly, Gauntlet is filled with fire and electric traps, so this map in particular really makes you think, because one wrong move could easily result in you dying. The point is, the overall level design has been clearly thought about in great detail, and no 2 maps are the same in any way. I really hope Boss Alien can keep this up for all of the maps, because so far they're doing a really great job. Moving on to the 2 new hunters, who we all know as Scorer and Sprocket. Unfortunately, I won't be able to play as them properly for quite some time, as it will take me a while to actually unlock them both, so I won't be able to give you guys a proper review for them, but from what I've tested out in the training mode, they both seem like really useful support characters and definitely a lot of fun to play, so I'm excited to unlock them for myself and really give them a go. What I will say about them though is they both look and sound awesome, and I'm really excited to see more cosmetics as time goes on. Speaking of cosmetics, this update has added a lot of them. Each existing hunter before this update is said to have received 5 new costumes and 4 new weapon wraps, which is absolutely crazy. Unfortunately, we can't see all of them in the roster menu, but some of the new ones can be seen in the shop. For example, Groz has a legendary Wookiee warrior skin and B2 battle droid arms as clubs instead of a KX droid. Some of the cosmetics that we can see in the roster menu are on Sentinel though, and these are the skins that make me the happiest. Firstly, we have Gathering Storm, which is essentially a shadow trooper with some red paint on, and I think it looks awesome, but the skin that makes me really happy is the Shore Trooper. I was always hoping that Sentinel would get other Stormtrooper armor sets as skins, but I was genuinely preparing myself for Sentinel to just be having different paint jobs, which wouldn't be too bad, but considering there are so many different Stormtrooper variants out there, it makes sense to utilise them as skins, and thanks to this update we now know that they are going to be doing just that. Another example of skins not appearing in the roster, but being in the store, is the Shore Leader skin for Sentinel. In the roster we can see a standard Shore Trooper, but then in the shop you can buy the Shore Trooper Commander skin, which is awesome. In the coming weeks I'll be making a video on all of the different types of skins that we could see added to Sentinel, so be sure to keep an eye out on that by subscribing to the channel with those notifications turned on. Another thing that I love about cosmetics in this update is that we now understand the true difference between a rare skin and an epic skin. Rare skins are simply just colour changes to the base costume and weapon wrap, however epic skins actually change the way they look completely. For costumes, this is demonstrated by Sentinel and Zayna. You've already seen what I mean with Sentinel, but with Zayna you can see here that her rare skins are the same clothes and hairstyle, but then this epic skin completely changes her outfit and her hair. As for the weapon wraps, you can see that she has two rare DL44 skins, but then the epic skin changes the DL44 to an A180 blaster pistol, which is awesome. The weapon stats will of course be the exact same due to it being cosmetic changes only, but it's still awesome to see that the weapon changes a lot as well. What the difference between epic and legendary skins though are, I don't know, as this legendary appearance for Groz changes just as much as the epic skins do for the other characters, but perhaps that's all it is as well, just simply a different design to what we see for rare and epic skins. The final cosmetic thing I want to discuss is the introduction of avatars. Before the game soft launched, I was hoping to see avatars as a piece of customization, as I think it's really important to not only have character customization, but also to have a player profile customization as well, as it's just an extra way to express yourself, and there are also a lot of things that they could do with it, so it's nice to finally see it in the game. Next we have the progression system. The first iteration of the system was added in the update on December 14th last year, and it was a decent enough start, however it really needed more, and thankfully this update did just that. Not only did the update alter the existing progression system, but it also added a new player progression system, which I'll speak about in just a moment. The first change I noticed was the fact that you can now see all of your future rewards by clicking the progress bar for yourself and any of the hunters. The rewards have also changed to modules, cosmetics and crystals, which I think is great. So far the max level for hunters is 25, but hopefully they'll go and increase that at launch and add even more awesome content to it. The next thing I noticed was the fact that hunter fame is now actually based on performance. The majority of fame still comes from winning or losing a game, which is fine, but now you can actually earn badges for doing things in a match, and those badges will give you more fame. For every bronze badge you get 5 fame, silver is 10 and gold is 15. So the more badges you get, the more fame you'll receive, which is really great to see. The credit payout is still the exact same though, however, so I really hope that by launch it is changed so that it too is based on your performance. As for the player level, I'm really happy to see that in the game as well. So far there are 50 levels, which will be a really good grind, but I do hope that at launch they add even more levels to it so that we can earn even more rewards to unlock new hunters and skins. One of my only issues with the game is having hunters locked behind crystals. With this update though, they've added U-Toonie and Slingshot behind player level progression, which is great, and they've also added hunter tokens. I was really hoping that hunter tokens would be quite accessible so that I wouldn't have to spend weeks trying to unlock a new hunter. However, you can only get 100 hunter tokens thus far, which is the exact number required to unlock one hunter. So you then have to unlock the rest with crystals, so it's pretty much made no difference whatsoever. And to get all 100 tokens you need to reach player level 49, so it's definitely going to take some time to reach. Like I said at the start of the video though, the game is still in soft launch, so whilst it is far easier to earn crystals now, I can only imagine that more changes will be made by launch so that it is easier to get hunters. I totally appreciate that the game is also free to play, so trying to find the right balance between monetization and consumer friendliness can be tricky, but I just don't personally agree with locking characters essentially behind a paywall. You can get a lot of crystals without paying, but paying is by far the quickest way to unlock them. Now that all sounds a little bit pay to win, but if you take a step back and look at the bigger picture, it's actually not. Pay to win is defined as paying real world money to gain a significant advantage over those who don't pay anything. While unlocking new hunters doesn't give you an advantage whatsoever, the game is actually really well balanced and no one hunter is significantly better than the others. For example, you start off with Zayna, Reeve, Imaravex and Groz unlocked. Sentinel, for example, is therefore locked behind hunter tokens or crystals, but spending money to buy him doesn't give you an advantage at all. Yes, he's a great character, but Reeve and other characters are just as good. The only advantage you get by spending money is simply just the fact that you'll be able to play as hunters quicker, which is therefore not pay to win. I still don't agree with locking hunters behind a paywall, but I thought it was important to establish that it's not actually a pay to win system. The last thing I wanted to go over today is the stats page. Like a lot of things, I was really hoping to see a stats page in the game, so it's awesome that it was introduced in this update. Whilst I was expecting to see a stats page at some point, I really wasn't expecting to see one this in depth. It's completely blown my expectations out of the water, and I'm really happy to see the detail it's gone into. The stats page is split into two parts. The first part goes over the general player stats like games played, wins, Huttball goals and much more, to give you 12 stats in total. The second half is specific stats for each hunter, of which there are 14 different stats. This means that you can now see how many wins you have per hunter, how much damage you deal on average per 5 minutes per hunter, and so much more. I'd highly recommend you checking it out for yourself as it really is amazing, and you can also take a look at your match history from the stats page as well, which is really cool. If you go up against any real world players, then you can actually click on them and send them a friend request, or you can check out their overall stats and match history as well. The final thing I wanted to touch on real quick is a bug report, and so far there are two things that I have noticed. The first of which is that the avatar constantly says that there is something new for me to check out, which when I go on there evidently isn't. And the second is that the seasons page never tells me when I've completed a challenge, which means that I have to constantly go on and check the challenges page to see if I've actually completed a challenge or not. Hopefully those two issues will be addressed in a future update, but they're not even that bad at all, so I'm not really too worried about a quick fix. I'm also really curious about what the events page actually is all about, but so far there isn't an event, so we'll just have to wait and see. Overall, this update has been amazing. All of the new content is great, and I'm really pleased about the updates to progression and the introduction of the stats page. Hunters is continuing to move in a very good direction, and I'm so excited to see where Boss Alien takes the game next. Hopefully the full launch is just around the corner, and I'll continue to update you guys as and when we find out more, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel so that you don't miss out on any of that news. That is it from me today though guys. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on the update in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching, and may the force be with you always.